I am here with my dear friend Buzz the Bee from Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning. You are going to want to keep a close eye on the weather today, am I right? And let me tell you, it's time now for your local weather report, brought to you by Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning. Let's buzz on over to the Main Street Media TV Weather Center.
From the Tennessee Valley Weather Channel, this is your weather on Main Street.
Good morning to you, and thank you so much for stopping by the Tennessee Valley Weather Channel. I'm Ben Luna, coming to you from the Home Weather Center this morning with a quick check on your forecast for today. Here's the breakdown of how your Thursday will look. We're going to warm to around the mid-70s this afternoon after getting a start in the mid-40s across the area. And then as we look ahead into tomorrow, after a really nice day today, clouds will be on the increase Friday. We might see a passing shower here through the day tomorrow as temperatures really knock on the back door of 80 degrees for the high.
Thank you for that update. Tune in each day on Mornings on Main Street for an up-to-date weather report brought to you by Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning. All of their contact information is below. Have a great day. Today, we are highlighting this new documentary. It's The M Factor, Shredding the Silence on Menopause. This documentary is opening up this conversation of what is a natural process for all women. Every single woman will go through menopause. And for some of those women, well, the symptoms of menopause could last for as long as a decade. Take a look at the number coming up on your screen in just a second, and then we glimpse at a small scope of what is talked about in this documentary.
I'm a board certified OBGYN at an accredited program in this country. I got less than a month of training of menopause.
Actually, the idea that menopause puts a woman at a disadvantage has nothing to do with biology and everything to do with culture and medical history.
And you get like heart fluctuations. And I thought, okay, it's just that I'm having a panic attack. So then that messes with your mental psyche.
Night sweats, insomnia,
Weight gain,
urinary tract infections, urinary incontinence,
Joint aches, depression, anxiety,
dry skin,
vaginal dryness,
painful sex,
the brain fog.
loss of libido.
Hot flashes are the tip of the iceberg.
You can't lump menopause into one basket for all races, ethnicities.
When we say that Black women experience menopause differently than their white counterparts, it's not because there's something physiologically different from us. There is something different culturally.
Recently, Ona Skincare and Med Spa hosted a special screening of the M Factor and had a discussion about women's health and menopause. That is the video that you're seeing now, the night of that screening. Founder and owner of Ona Skincare in Nashville, registered nurse and adult nurse practitioner Melissa Rhodes, shared in a note on the screening's invitation that she has noticed an increase of women in sitting in her chair, desperate for help because they feel terrible. Well, they are frustrated by being told it is just a symptom of stress or getting older and offered antidepressants as a Band-Aid. Well, this, along with starting her own experience, now has Melissa working to educate all women that come in contact with her and that come to her office. So coming up, Melissa will expand on the importance of talking openly about menopause, how to address your concerns, and much more.
So Busy Bee is a very close-knit family. We fight just like every family does. We have arguments, but we always come out with a solution to the problems. We don't just fight about what we want, we fight about what customers need. We want to make sure that every customer we go to is more than satisfied. And that doesn't just start whenever we show up at their door, that starts when we show up every day at work. We want to make sure that we are serving our customers to the best of our ability.
Only in Smashville are opponents welcomed with some good old-fashioned Southern hospitality. We'll give you a hand, cheer you on. You suck! It's all your fault! Hey, we'll even leave a light on.
At the 20th anniversary of the reporting of the Women's Health Initiative and taking stock of what has happened in those 20 years, very little.
We go through puberty and everybody's happy and excited and you can't wait. And then you go through pregnancy and it's parties. You go through menopause and nobody wants to hear about it.
Welcome back. That video is from The M Factor, Shredding the Silence on Menopause, a documentary that dives deep into the challenges that women still face during menopause. The mental, the physical, the emotional toll that this takes on women is why the owner of Nashville's Ona Skincare, Melissa Rhodes, who also happens to be a registered nurse and an adult nurse practitioner, is working to educate and equip women with information that may make the menopause conversation an easier one. After a recent screening of the M Factor, I had the chance to talk with Melissa and physician assistant Emily Beckman on how this film is helping the team there at Ona Skincare educate other women.
Share with us why it is so important to get this conversation, to continue this conversation regularly.
I think it is so important because 100% of women are going to deal with some symptom or form or fashion of menopause in their lifetime. And the conversation isn't something that has been regularly talked about. I think there was, a whole generation of women who felt like they just had to suffer in silence and it was just a part of aging, and it definitely is, but there are so many things that we can do along the way, either to alleviate symptoms or to help keep ourselves feeling better longer and healthy longer, because it impacts our brains, it impacts our cardiovascular system, it impacts our bones and our muscle.
Someone may look at you and be like, Melissa, you're on skincare. Like, what? Why open this conversation? Why take that role and be that person?
Sure. I opened 20 years ago, so I have a lot of patients that have been with me over the course of that 20 years, and I'm seeing their lives being affected by it, whether it's a change in their skin, a change in their libido and their relationship, a change in their parents who are falling and breaking bones, or themselves where they can't lose weight, they just don't feel like themselves, and a lot of times they're being dismissed. I'm really fortunate I have a doctor who does listen to me, but even with my symptoms that started in my late 30s, I was waking up in the middle of the night, could not sleep, and the first thing you think about is, okay, you're a business owner, you're stressed, that's probably what it is. It's bigger than that, and so I think being able to really target the things that are causing it has made such a huge difference in the quality of my life. And the conversation comes up, half of the patients I see every day, there's some form or fashion that they're being affected by hormonal changes. And I want to be a resource for them so that they know that there are options out there and that there is new information. There's a lot of studies that were done that now have been kind of picked apart, and they've realized that the science really wasn't there, and there is so much more benefit to keeping your hormones optimized to your overall health. It's not just about hot flashes.
I have questions for days. Yeah. What is the age in which, just so everyone, I know maybe a lot of you know this, what is the age that menopause really starts hitting a woman?
So it can be as early as 35,
okay.
But we also see a lot of younger women who are dealing either with like PMDD, which is, emotional kind of symptoms around their cycle, where those dips in hormones or those, high levels of hormones can really affect their, depression, anxiety, things like that. So it can almost be debilitating for some women. And then also, a lot of women with either fertility or PCOS issues, which are driven by hormones. So it's not just about menopause. Menopause is definitely the bigger conversation, though.
So that age really does surprise me. Okay, what about premenopause? What is that?
Yeah, and that's really 35 is probably when that perimenopause is going to start, and that's almost the most frustrating part of it. Menopause, once your body has stopped making the hormones, we know exactly what's going on there. In perimenopause, it's up and down. Every day is different. So it's really hard to pinpoint what's going to work now versus what's going to work then. And everyone is different as far as what those symptoms look like. It's kind of a spectrum. So some people need a lot more intervention in that perimenopause area, and some just need the tools to make sure that as they transition into menopause, they're not having that bone loss and the dementia and things that could come about with that change.
I want to cry, and I'm sure a lot of women, again, feel the same. Sometimes you feel like you're going crazy. You do. You feel like you're just going nuts.
Absolutely.
And up until this point, until seeing that documentary, and thank you so much for having us, you do think it's stress. You do think it's just work. And there's there's nothing really. I'll go to therapy. I'll pay for therapy.
Yeah.
But it could be so much more than that.
So much more than that, yeah. And even just knowing and having the conversation with other women, having someone else who feels the same as you makes you feel a little better about it. It's just knowing that you're not alone and that it's not just happening to you. So I think that's the biggest thing of just talking about it more is, oh, I feel that sometimes too. Like my husband chews too loud and it drives me crazy, or I'm waking up at 3 a.m. or I have zero interest in sex, whatever it is, that's a commonality. It's not just you going through it on your own.
But is this helpful? Is this conversation helpful to you to equip you with what you need?
Oh, definitely, yeah. I think just for me, in general, I'm just passionate about women's health, but specifically, I've seen my mom recently go through menopause and just the impact that it's had on her, and just seeing her not be herself. And so that's, part of the reason what inspired me to want to, join here and be involved in caring for women going through that. But yeah, Melissa's really inspiring, and she's, a leader in this industry. And so I'm really thankful to be able to work with her and learn from her.
What are the questions that we need to be asking? So what, can we equip ourselves with to go to our doctor to show that we know what we're talking about, we know the questions that we're asking?
Mm-hmm. I think knowing what the potential symptoms can be is really helpful. So I think, the main symptoms that a lot of women complain about are that kind of waking up in the middle of the night, not able to fall asleep, just feeling a little less kind of energized, not having the motivation that you had before, low libido, itchy skin can be, so almost like you feel like something's crawling on you. That is a big one. Joints, aches and pains in your joints and things like that. So, it shows that all of these could be individual symptoms of something else. So yes, of course, we want you to see your primary care and get worked up for those things. But if you're overall healthy and you're still having some of those symptoms, it may be worth digging a little deeper and just saying, can we do a full panel of, my sex hormones, my thyroid, my stress hormones, just to see if there's something else that's feeding into these symptoms.
What resources do you have here at ONA?
So we have the ability to run any of those lab panels. So if it's something that you don't have access to, we're happy to run it and kind of go through a good review of the findings with you and really tell you what we would recommend as far as maybe it's just supplements and lifestyle changes. Maybe it's an addition of some hormone replacement therapy. For younger women who are going through the PCOS or the, PMDD, there are, definitive lifestyle changes that can make a big difference. Nutrition is a big one. Exercise is a big one. I have a lot of women who come in and say, I'm doing the same high intensity workouts that I was doing before, and I'm still gaining weight. I can't lose this belly fat. And, sometimes that's not the right exercise for you. Sometimes going back to something that is more low impact is going to be better, because a high intensity routine can raise your cortisol. If your cortisol is already raised, it's going to affect your other hormones. It's going to affect your belly fat. So it's just little things like that I think we can work with you to tweak to make you feel better and kind of, maintain the way you want to look, but also the way you want to feel.
Because all of our bodies are different.
Completely.
We'd like to come in, get our panels done. Does insurance take care of that here at your location?
So at our location, we don't work with insurance necessarily, but we're happy to take a look at if you've got a panel that you've gotten with your physical in the last 3 months or so, we're happy to take those labs and then we may add some on, like a little bit more in depth onto that. We have some programs that keep it very affordable and that include a lot of coaching and dietary recommendations, things like that. And sometimes the additional testing is not something that insurance is going to cover regardless of who orders it. It may be a little bit more on that kind of functional medicine side that would come out of pocket, but we definitely have ways to make that affordable.
You know, it's never too early to better your lifestyle and to better your health. And again, as we're having this conversation, as the perimenopausal stage really starts around 35, what can we do ahead of those years to make maybe that transition or that period from 35 on upwards to whenever, make that better or easier?
Yeah. I think diet is huge. So making sure that you're really eating a lot of protein, a lot of fiber, a lot of vegetables, just make your plate colorful, less processed foods. It's kind of the same thing that we hear about overall health in general is going to affect hormones, too. Vitamin D is a big one. It's a precursor to a lot of our hormones. So making sure that we are, safely getting some sunlight and also, eating foods that are going to help maintain those vitamin D levels. Exercise is huge. Moving our body really helps our body to produce those hormones. And then sleep hygiene, making sure we're getting enough sleep, because sleep is when our body is really repairing itself and kind of building some of those hormones and precursors to hormones.
Is there anything I didn't ask you that you want people to know now? And other than that, you're going to have to reach out to Melissa here at Ona Skincare.
Gosh, I do think we covered a lot. There's so much. I mean, we could do something every month about this and be talking for a year.
And maybe that's the idea. I mean, again, just to continue to have putting this out there.
Yeah, I would be happy to do that. I think it's information that women need. The impact, even after the film, of women who were just emotionally touched by it and really felt empowered hearing that information, I think was huge. And that's really what we're here to do. We want people to feel confident. We want them to feel good about themselves. We can make them look great on the outside, but if they feel terrible on the inside, it's not really doing them a service. So, that's our goal, is to give you the information, give you the tools to, live your best life.
As people see this, they say, hey, Melissa, I want to connect with you. I want to reach out. How do they do that?
So the best way is to call the office.
Okay.
We have 2 locations, and we typically will set up just a quick discovery call where we kind of talk about what your goals are, make sure that we're a good fit for you and that you're interested in coming in and visiting with us. And then we would schedule a consultation. Typically at that initial consultation, we'll do labs and then set up about a week later, we'll set up a meeting with you to go over what we found. It's always a good idea at that consultation to bring in any recent labs that you've had or any medical, paperwork that you have, any records that you have, just so that we can kind of talk through what your goals are and what your history is and really find the best solution.
You're seeing the signs too, right?
What signs?
Step into the Lionel retail store at Opry Mills, Nashville, and you'll be captivated by all the magic of the 123-year history of Lionel trains. Whether you're already a train enthusiast or just getting started, Lionel will energize your love for trains. NASCAR fan? Come check out your local Lionel station to learn all there is to know about model trains and die-cast NASCAR collectibles. Visit nashville.lionel.com or call 615-455-9399.
I would like to thank Melissa once again for giving me her time and sharing all of the information that she did. I hope that you got as much out of this as I did. Thanks again for always joining us here at Mornings on Main Street. Have a wonderful rest of your day. We'll see you back here tomorrow.